I'm currently the FIGHT MND Mid-Career Research Fellow. I transitioned into this fellowship early this month. Prior to this, I was the Scott Sullivan MND Research Fellow, and what's really special to me is that both of these fellowships really are, I guess, in memory of two fantastic people who lived with MND and who have since unfortunately passed away, but who really wanted to leave a legacy behind in continuing the fight against MND and looking for this cure for this disease. So I am, as I said, the FIGHT MND Mid-Career Research Fellow, and I run a laboratory that is based at the Australian Institute for Bioengineering and Nanotechnology, but I'm also an affiliate with the Queensland Brain Institute. The research that our lab does also crosses over to the Royal Brisbane and Wesley hospitals. Our research is really focused on understanding how changes in the way the body or cells use energy might impact how quickly MND progresses from one person to the next. We've been doing this research for the last 5 years, and most recently we've identified a few key changes in muscle and neurons that we think could be targeted as a potential treatment to help slow MND or to eventually stop MND in its tracks. And because of these discoveries in the lab, we have more recently been testing a few compounds that we think might target these processes. And then we've recently published a manuscript using mouse models of MND where we've shown that one of these compounds is actually very effective in slowing the disease, albeit very transiently. So we've learnt a bit more from this recent paper, and we're hoping to take this into the next trials that we are doing in the lab. So eventually, with all this drug testing that we're doing in the lab, we hope to transition these compounds into trials for people living with MND. And fortunately enough, we have received some funding from FIGHT MND to potentially start a trial of one of these compounds later this year. A day in the MND clinic is never the same, and I think that's very much the same in the lab, right? No day is the same, and that's why we do research. We're very curious, and we're at the forefront of discovery. One thing that's, I think, really great about working in the clinic, and I think being in touch with people who are living with this disease every day, is that you really begin to appreciate how different MND really is between people. People always say that no one person is the same, and you don't really see how different people are until you meet many people who are living with this disease. And it's through meeting all these people in Queensland and even interstate who are living with disease that we can learn more about MND, and it's learning more about MND and the person, which is, I feel, what's going to help us find a treatment, because we can't, I believe, target just one specific thing in the disease. We're going to have very personalised approaches. And what's also really important about working with people in MND is that they don't just contribute to my research by coming every 3 months to see us and donating tissue samples and blood samples for research. The time that MND patients give to us and the samples that they give to us are actually used by a number of researchers in Australia and in Brisbane and also across the world.